40-man roster were in uniform. 25 were used, including 8 pitchers. A minute short of 4 hours, and in 12 innings, the Dodgers came up a run short. And so they're still chasing their 3rd straight division title, and the Giants are still chasing the Dodgers. Corey Seager, the club's hottest hitter in September, drove in the Dodgers' first run and scored the tying run in the 9th. But it wasn't enough, despite another solid pitching performance from Zach Greinke. Tonight, with 6 games left in the season, Clayton Kershaw faces Madison Bumgarner, the 2 big horses, with the finish line in sight. And down the stretch they go. It's a beautiful night for baseball, and live from AT&T Park in San Francisco, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants in Game 2 of this 4-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Oral Hershiser. So now the magic number remains at 2, 6 to play. The Dodger lead is 5 over San Francisco, and the 2 best left-handers in the National League facing off against one another tonight. Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers, Madison Bumgarner for the Giants. A great athletic showdown and a dramatic one to boot.
A dramatic one. Last night, a big victory by the Giants, but if you thought that was electric, tonight is going to even have more electricity, and these 2 Warriors, who are cut of the same cloth, are going to be going at it. First, Madison Bumgarner. Never finished with a Cy Young, but he's been last year 4th. This year, 8th in ERA. Drafted in 2006 in the 1st round. It was a 10th round pick, and he has been the ace of these Giants since then. He is the guy that this guy, our pitcher for the Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw, needs to beat tonight. Clayton's got 113 victories, 3-time Cy Young, MVP. His ERA is now down to 2.25, but this is personal now. It's Giants-Dodgers, it's Kershaw against Bumgarner, and these guys have met before 6 times. This now the 7th time, and Bumgarner has really gotten the best in the results, but statistically it's been a pretty fair matchup. Kershaw wants to turn the tables on this tonight.
This is the 4th meeting between these 2 aces. Kershaw in search of his 16th win of the year. Bumgarner in search of his 19th. When we come back, Alana Rizzo will join us. Kike Hernandez back in the lineup, leading off tonight in center field. That story when we return to AT&T Park. Madison Bumgarner getting ready to make his 32nd appearance of the year. Clayton Kershaw getting ready to make his 32nd appearance of the year, like two prize fighters heading into their respective dugouts with their entourage, and Don Mattingly has put this lineup together for the second game of the four-game set. Kike Hernandez will be leading off in center field. Howie Kendrick at second base. Adrian Gonzalez, bad back and all at first. Justin Turner in the cleanup spot. Corey Seager making the start at short, batting fifth. Ruggiano in left. Ellis behind the plate. Van Slyke hits reasonably well against Bumgarner, hitting eighth. Kershaw pitching and batting ninth. And Madison Bumgarner in search of his 19th win of the year.
Giants, Dodgers, Bumgarner, Kershaw, 92-mile-an-hour fastball. 80% of the time it's going to be hard because he throws a slider also. A curveball that'll take you down to 76. The Dodgers need to make him get the ball up, certain guys, and down with other guys, but they better have one plan or another.
This is the fourth time Bumgarner and Kershaw will be facing one another in the three matchups this year. Bumgarner 2-0 and a 1.31 ERA. Kershaw 0-2 and an ERA of 3.54 in his career against the Dodgers here at AT&T Park. Madison Bumgarner is 5-2, and against the Dodgers, all told, 13-6 and a 2.35 ERA. So we are ready to roll as Kike Hernandez steps in. His first game back last night, came in late, went 2 for 2, and here he is leading off. And takes high and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Hernandez, 6 home runs, 21 runs batted in, missed 26 games with the pulled hamstring. Kendrick and Gonzalez to follow. Of course, it's anticipation and desperation tonight for the Dodgers. Rather foul off to the right and out of play. It's anticipation for the Dodgers, a sense of desperation for the Giants, who basically have to win out.
And the fact that the Giants have their backs against the wall, they're almost relishing that opportunity. Don Mattingly and his team wanting to get it over as soon as possible.
They've lost 4 in a row and 8 of their last 10. A 12-inning, 3-hour and 59-minute marathon as Bumgarner delivers a strike. It's 1-2.
For the Dodgers, the 7 straight losses here in San Francisco are the second most in Dodger history, trailing the 9 straight times they lost to them, 1961 to 62.
1 ball and 2 strikes. In the hole in the left field for a base hit. So Hernandez, fresh off the disabled list, is 3 for 3.
Most pitches Kike has seen in a back since coming back off the DL. First pitch he saw last night hit right through that same exact hole.
So Kike Hernandez providing a spark, and Howie Kendrick stepping in. Kendrick at 292 on the year. Fouls it off to the right, and it's 0-1. Kendrick hasn't enjoyed a whole lot of success against Bumgarner. Not many have. 1 for 9. Adrian Gonzalez on deck. Dodgers looking to score first. When they do, they're 63-21. So they win 3 out of 4 games when they score first. Up and away.
And introducing Madison Bumgarner, I talked about you have to either get the ball up or get it down. You've got to have one plan or the other, because he not only moves the ball in and out, he moves the ball up and down depending on where he thinks your strengths and weaknesses are.
It's a chilly night, 61 degrees as Kendrick fouls it back, and with Kike Hernandez fresh off the disabled list, climate being what it is, you don't expect him to be going anywhere. This is going to be the 403rd consecutive sellout. It's the Giants and the Dodgers, a rivalry that dates back to 1890. Inside and low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dodgers are looking for their 6th postseason berth in the last 10 years, and their 14th National League Western Division title. Giants hope to live to see another day.
The Giants feel like they got over one hurdle last night in beating a Zach Greinke start. And really the vibe around the Giant clubhouse is, if we can win two. They didn't even talk about sweeping the Dodgers. They just talked about beating the top two pitchers and thinking that would be the other side of the mountain if they could just get the first two.
And it's booted by Tomlinson, who was so brilliant last night. That allows Kike Hernandez to go to third. Kelby Tomlinson made 3 terrific defensive plays last night. Takes his eye off the ball, an easy double play. Instead, the Dodgers have a break and runners at the corners and nobody out.
Tomlinson looks like he wants to make this play so sure. He gets down there with 2 hands, takes it off the side saddle right there, and it was so routine and so perfect a double play ball. Maybe he took it for granted, or maybe the nerves got to him.
Last night, Tomlinson robbed Corey Seager of a base hit in the 6th inning and made 2 other sparklers. Adrian Gonzalez, the Dodgers threatening here in the first. Adrian at 275, takes high. Gonzalez has not had much success against Bumgarner either. 6 for 40, that's 150. 4 singles and a couple of doubles. Justin Turner on deck.
Got to take advantage of the mistake by the Giants.
2 balls and no strikes.
Madison Bumgarner thinks all of a sudden there should be 2 out, nobody on after getting that ground ball, and all of a sudden first and third, and he doesn't have the radar locked in on where his pitchers are going yet, so this is a time to capitalize for the Dodger offense.
2 balls, no strikes. Out of play, 2-1. Gonzalez hitting less than 220 in the month of September. He's been wearing down. 28 home runs, 88 runs batted in. And with runners in scoring position, he's been solid. Turner on deck and Seager to follow, just underway. First and third, nobody out in the first. Missing outside. 3 balls and a strike. Bumgarner is tied for wins in the National League, in 2nd place with 18, 4th in the league in strikeouts with 228, 6th in the league in innings pitched, 8th in the league in ERA. On 3-1, the bases are loaded.
Tough time for Madison Bumgarner. You are not locked into all your pitches. Your fastball, your slider, and your curve, and you haven't thrown one where you really like it yet, but you want to be hitting the corners. Trying to attempt to hit the corners right now, but has not been able to find it.
So here comes Justin Turner. Turner at 290, 15 home runs and 56 runs batted in. Seven for 31 against Bumgarner. Hernandez, Kendrick, and Gonzalez the runners. And Turner takes a breaking ball high.
When it was first and third, no out, 1 run would have been fine. Now that it's bases loaded, no out, I think the minimum the Dodgers would feel good about is 2.
2 runs in Kershaw's back pocket in the first inning. We'll see. For Justin Turner, this is just the 3rd time all year he's come up with the bases loaded. He's 0 for 2. 1 ball and 1 strike. 3-10 with runners in scoring position. Turner, a career high 15 home runs and 56 runs batted in. 0 for 4 and a sacrifice last night. Hernandez hit. An error by Tomlinson. The walk to Gonzalez. The bases are loaded. Just underway. There's nobody out as Kershaw watches. Into right field. Drifting back is Bird. He'll make the catch. Tagging and scoring is Kike Hernandez. On his way to third base is Howie Kendrick. On the Turner sac fly, his 57th run batted into the season. The Dodgers draw first blood. It's 1-0.
Perfect sac fly. Center field, you can't move the runner over from second to third. Left field, you can't. You score the run in both left and center, but in right, you move the runner over Howie Kendrick. This is how you set up a 2-run inning.
So the Dodgers now have runners at the corners with 1 out, and here comes Corey Seager. 2 for 5 last night. Scored a run, drove in a run. He's been on base in his first 20 starts by hit or walk. 342, 3 home runs, 14 runs batted in. Not the least bit intimidated by Bumgarner. Fouls it back to the screen, and it's 0-1. Pretty good company for a kid who is making but his 23rd appearance.
It might be a new name on that list, but it might be a name on that list that we see for a long time.
Ruggiano on deck. Seager takes high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Prior to the game today, Mattingly had a closed-door meeting with Jimmy Rollins, basically letting him know at least tonight Seager's the shortstop, and a call strike, 1 and 2.
Some people would think that that's a complete decision between Jimmy Rollins and Corey Seager, but also I think you need to throw Justin Turner into that equation also, because Corey Seager could be playing third base and Jimmy could be at short.
Mattingly told the media prior to the game it was not an easy conversation. Seager takes outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, Jimmy Rollins has really turned up the intensity in the last month or so, knowing we're coming into September and October. And in some ways, I think he was saving his body for these couple months, knowing that he couldn't play at that level a full year. His bat and his fielding have really come around.
The 2-2 to Seager is high, 3 and 2.
We've seen even Jimmy Rollins start to steal bases and run aggressively. And I think he's been gearing up for this time of year, so I'm sure it was a very disappointing meeting for him. And hopefully he and Don Mattingly will be on the same page, and they'll be focused on the team goal the rest of the year.
Seager started at short last night, and he swings and misses on what appeared to be ball 4.
Corey has been a very aggressive hitter since coming to the big league. Swings at a lot of first pitches and is not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. Madison Bumgarner throws an outstanding sidearm breaking ball that looks like a strike for a long time, but has great depth there right at the end.
So 1st and 3rd and 2 out, and Justin Ruggiano coming up. Ruggiano in the lineup because he hits left-handers so well. Been quite a pickup for the Dodgers. And he pops it up. Posey will run out of room.
When you watch that pop-up go 3-4 rows into the stands, it's one of the reasons the games are a little longer now. That you can just add a third of an inning to the total of innings we are playing tonight. 3 to 6 rows into the stands used to be outs.
Justin Ruggiano against left-handers, hitting .350 this year. 14 for 40. And he grounds it to third. It's a fair ball. Duffy throws across the diamond. Dodgers score a run, leave 2. So Kershaw's got a run to work with as he begins his 32nd start of the year. The heavyweight championship coming up. As usual, Angel Pagan on top. Kelby Tomlinson at second base and Matt Duffy at 298 in his outstanding rookie season at third base. Posey, Bird, and Brandon Crawford. Mac Williamson, a big hulking rookie in left field. Kevin Franson, veteran journeyman at first base. Madison Bumgarner pitching and batting ninth. And here is Clayton Kershaw.
Fastball, curveball, slider, cutter. But right now, the convergence of ability, opponent, and the things that are on the line. And Clayton wants to turn the page on a lot of the big games he's pitched in the past. He wants to start to write a new script. And he's got an opportunity now with a 1-0 lead.
Pagan, primarily a singles hitter. Switch hitter taking inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Hitting .326 against left-handed pitching. Came off the disabled list 3 weeks ago and lines one right into the glove of Justin Turner. Smoked.
High cutter that Pagan gets on top of. A lot of top hand in this swing, hitting this ball on the line, and it is just blistered. That's the hot corner, and Justin Turner just enough time to react to his upper right side.
Kelby Tomlinson takes high, 1 ball and no strikes. Tomlinson making his 50th start. 299, has 46 base hits, a home run, 17 runs batted in. Kershaw falls behind. Of course, Joe Panik's been out with a bad back. Giants have been decimated by injuries this year. I was talking about Tomlinson. He's the right-handed version of Joe Panik. Solid defender. Again, primarily a singles hitter. Has 3 triples. 2-1. Now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kelby Tomlinson.
Puts the bat on his shoulder, keeps the hands really close to the strike zone, and really never moves them away from there. Tries to have a very short, kind of choppy swing. Just putting the ball in play.
Kershaw's first strikeout of the night. 2 out and nobody on in the first.
Clayton getting back in line, fell behind 2-0, but starting to get the ball lower and lower. That cutter right there, really just strength against strength. You know I need to throw a strike, want to throw a strike, and here you try to hit it.
Kershaw in his last 14 starts is 10-1 at a 1.36 ERA. Matt Duffy takes a strike and it's 0-1. Duffy, the everyday third baseman in San Francisco, now that Pablo Sandoval went off to Boston. And Duffy had a far better year in San Francisco than the Panda did in Boston. So quickly, Kershaw's ahead, 0-2 on this chilly night. 61 degrees at game time, and the 0-2 on the way. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I think Clayton got squeezed a little bit on that pitch. It was right there.
Kershaw's 11th pitch of the inning results in his second strikeout. A.J. Ellis picks it up to complete it. Nothing across for the Giants. We'll go to the top of the second with Ellis, Van Slyke, and Kershaw coming up, and the Dodgers with the early lead. Clayton Kershaw in the second inning. Kershaw 11 pitches, 7 strikes, and 2 strikeouts in the first. The Dodgers with the lead. A hit, a walk, an error, and a sac fly in the first inning. A.J. Ellis stepping in, taking high and away. 1 ball, no strikes. Ellis on the year 2 1/4. And he is catching his best buddy. 6 home runs, 18 runs batted in. There's a strike, and it's 1-1.
We've seen A.J. during this hot streak with the bat be very aggressive early in the count, but here leading off the inning, back to taking a few pitches, trying to get on.
Takes a strike, and it's 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes, beginning the second. Ball, 3rd strike. Second strikeout of the night for Bumgarner. And it's the first out of the second.
Well, it might have been a little wide. Maybe catches the strike. Dana DeButh behind the plate did not give a corner pitch to Kershaw, but he still struck somebody out. Bumgarner got the benefit of the doubt on that one.
Van Slyke stepping in. He's 9 for 24 against Bumgarner. That's 375. He takes up and in. 1 ball, no strikes. Van Slyke on the year at 243. Starting in right field tonight. Into short left center field, Crawford retreating. And the UCLA Bruin makes the catch. So another sold-out house. This would be their 403rd as Kershaw steps in. Clayton on the year has 9 hits. He's actually had 3 hits against Bumgarner, 3 for 12.
Yeah, the battle between these two is not just pitching against each other. They really relish the fact that they can hit, and both love to hit off each other in this competition.
Bumgarner has 5 home runs this year.
1 is off Clayton, if I'm remembering right.
Two highly chiseled competitors. Neither retreats. Bumgarner in search of his 19th win. Kershaw in search of his 16th. The Dodgers looking to get over the hurdle and win their 3rd consecutive National League Western Division title.
Bumgarner wins, that would be his 19th. That'd be a career high. Of course, the win for Clayton wouldn't be a career high.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Kershaw.
I expect the sweeping slider right here that he struck Seager out on. See what it is.
That'll do it. Nothing across. 6 in a row retired by Bumgarner. And the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead into the bottom of the second. baseball excitement. Limited tickets to the Dodgers' potential home games for the National League Division Series and National League Championship Series are on sale now. Visit Dodgers.com/postseason to order yours today. Well, they did a little bit of manicuring out in the center field area here at AT&T Park, where AC/DC performed last week. Of course, AC/DC performed at Dodger Stadium last night in front of 46,000. Buster Posey will lead it off against Kershaw. You know, back on May 21st, Kershaw lost to Bumgarner, and at that point his record was 2-3 and a 4.32 ERA. Posey lines one right into the glove of Kendrick. But since that loss on May 21st, Kershaw's gone 13-4, a 1.50 ERA, 208 strikeouts, and 25 walks. Everybody was wondering at the end of May what's wrong with Kershaw. By June, the answer was nothing.
With the good fortune he's had with the leadoff hitters in the first 2 innings, the 2 lineouts, and the ability he has taken since back then.
Marlon Byrd takes a strike.
Things are going very well right now.
The veteran Marlon Byrd, a good pickup for the Giants at the deadline. 1 ball, 1 strike. In 13 career starts here at AT&T Park, Kershaw is 8-3 and an ERA of $1.25. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's Brandon Crawford on deck. You get the sense there's no place on earth that Kershaw would rather be than right here, right now. With his team poised to win their 3rd consecutive National League Western Division title, but the Dodgers have lost 4 straight, 8 of their last 10, and their magic number's been stuck in the mud at 2.
You know, he was pulling for Zach Greinke last night, but now with the Dodger loss, I'm sure he really likes the fact that he can put him over the top.
Turner goes out Bird. Well, this is the 27th time that Greinke and Kershaw have started consecutive games. They have lost back-to-back games this season only twice. Of course, everybody knew coming into this 4-game series, all they needed was 1. Greinke couldn't seal the deal last night, although he pitched very well. 2 runs, 4 hits in 7 innings. Now it's up to Kershaw. Brandon Crawford stepping in. Crawford leads the Giants with 20 home runs. No Giant shortstop has led the team in home runs in 110 years. Bill Dolan was his name. He led the Giants with 7 back in 1905. No balls, 2 strikes to Crawford. A solid 258 on 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Clayton looks really locked in. The first few hitters seemed like he was just kind of getting into the game, but once he got his first strikeout against Tomlinson and then Duffy, he's made a lot of quality pitches.
13 starts here at AT&T Park, 3 shutouts. Grounded to short. Seager with an easy hop. Throws out Crawford. 6 up, 6 down for Clayton Kershaw. As we go to the 3rd, it'll be the top of the order for the Dodgers, who lead 1-0. Kike Hernandez, Howie Kendrick, and Adrian Gonzalez. This really is a battle of heavyweights. Kershaw 6'4", 225. Madison Bumgarner 6'5" and 235. The two best left-handers in the National League. Kike Hernandez 3 for 3 since coming off the DL last night. 2 hits last night, and he singled the left to open the first tonight. Playing in center. A couple of issues at play. One, you've got Jock Peterson, who struggled against lefties. 2, at the time that Hernandez went on the disabled list, Oral, he had taken over the job in center field.
He really had. And he brings a lot of energy to this line. It reminds me of Steve Sachs that I played with. They're up front, working the count. Small in stature, but still have the good wheels and also has power.
Peterson watches tonight. Next to Yasmani Grandal. Kendrick and Gonzalez are next here in the third. And already the 41st pitch thrown by Bumgarner. 3-1.
Both bullpens got a workout last night with the extra inning game. Nobody threw a exorbitant number of pitches where they couldn't come back today, but you would expect these two starters to go deep into the game.
Dodgers used 7 relievers last night. And that one's well hit to left center field. It's on its way, and it is gone. A home run. Kike Hernandez. His 7th of the year. He's 4 for 4 since coming off the disabled list. He has scored both runs tonight, and the Dodgers lead 2-0.
Rest and the healing, and who meets him there at the top of the dugout but Jock Peterson. A hanging slider on the outer half, able to extend his arms out front because of the speed on the pitch, and he crushes this ball. It's a no-doubter. This ballpark can hold a lot of long fly balls, but not this one.
About 10 rows back. Banana splits on the house. Howie Kendrick steps in. Fouls it back. It is 0-1. Missed 26 games with the hamstring and certainly showing no ill effects last night or tonight. Kendrick takes a ball in the dirt, and it's 1-1. So Bumgarner gives up the long ball. The 19th he's surrendered this year. Kendrick, little comebacker. First out of the third.
This year's Dodgers are trying to tie the all-time record for Dodger team with the most players that have 10-plus home run seasons, and everybody thought it might be Howie Kendrick that could put him over the top. They're 1 behind. Howie has 9, but the way Kike's swinging the bat right now, that putting that total for him at 7, he might help the Dodgers tie the 2004 Dodgers.
Kike Hernandez is just 24. And if you remember in the offseason when the Dodgers traded Dee Gordon and Dan Herron to the Marlins, Kike Hernandez is just kind of like a name among the group. Well, he has emerged as quite a player for the Dodgers.
A lot of tools there that are being refined, and he is really starting to shine. Jock Peterson gave him a little jar in the door and left it open there with his struggles, and then Kike has jumped right through the door.
Gonzalez walked in his first at-bat and grounds to first in his second. So the Dodgers, who were so desperately lacking for energy in the 3-game sweep up there in Colorado, first time they'd been swept in Colorado in about 8 years. Well, Hernandez back, Last night, a couple of base hits, an outstanding catch in center field, and tonight he has singled to left, homered, and scored both Dodger runs. Justin Turner, a sac fly in his first plate appearance, takes high and away, 1 ball, no strikes. This, of course, the 4th matchup of the year between Bumgarner and Kershaw. Bumgarner 2-0 at a 1.31 ERA against the Dodgers. Kershaw 0-2 and a 3.5 ERA against the Giants. Kershaw now has 2 runs to work with. That's John Valentin, assistant hitting coach, standing in front of Clayton. Seager on deck. Slicing out of play.
Last time Clayton faced these Giants was on September 2nd, and he did only need 2 runs to beat them. Beat them 2-1. Went 9 innings and his season high 132 pitches. Struck out 15 and only walked 1.
Outfield straightaway. Left fielder Williamson especially deep for Turner. And it's grounded foul past Ron Renicky. One of the ball dudes picking it up. Dodgers 63-21 when they score first this year. And they've got a 2-0 lead and Kershaw gone.
And the first run coming on Justin Turner's sacrifice fly, and outstanding placement of that fly when it was to right field. But unfortunately for the Dodgers, thought they would get 2 runs out of that first inning, but Corey Seager was struck out.
And Brugiano would ground out, then Turner has to twist out of the way. The Dodgers, who were flattered a 2-day-old souffle over the weekend in Colorado. A spirited game last night. And tonight, they've got some vim and vigor. Turner's been struck out. That's the 4th strikeout from Madison Bumgarner. But Kike Hernandez hits his 7th home run of the year. He's 2 for 2 tonight. 4 for 4 since coming off the DL. And the Dodgers have a 2-0 lead. Gordon, Dan Herron, and Miguel Rojas to the Marlins. They would get back Andrew Heaney, Austin Barnes, Chris Hatcher, and Kike Hernandez. And on the first pitch of the third, a fly ball to left field, and there is Ruggiano. Mac Williamson, the first pitch he sees from Kershaw, flies out. Kershaw in the Dodger history is moving up the charts against the Giants. Waddy Clark played back in the 20s. Koufax, Padres, Valenzuela, you know. Here's Kevin Frandsen, who began his career with the Giants. Grew up in San Jose as a Giant fan, so it broke his heart when he had to leave. And it's a base hit into right. It's slippery out there. Of course, we're right on the banks of San Francisco Bay, and the AC/DC concert here the other night kind of dug up the turf, replaced your divots.
People and players have been worried about what's going to happen to Dodger Stadium, but you got to remember this is very moist here. The ground underneath the grass is wet, and so this turf got torn up a lot more. Dodger Stadium will be just fine.
Dodgers over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, wrap up the regular season against the Padres, and here's Bumgarner. Looks like he's going to need a new bat. Bumgarner at 240 with 5 home runs and 9 runs batted in.
He's been used as a pinch hitter this year. He goes without the batting gloves. He's at 6'5", big strong guy with a big strong swing, and makes contact an awful lot.
The only hitter this year who fell behind Aroldis Chapman 0-2 and worked out a walk was Madison Bumgarner. One and one to Bumgarner. 18 hits on the year. Sky-high pop-up. Hendrick. He can hit. So with 2 out, Angel Pagan in his first at-bat whistled a line drive, but right into the glove of Justin Turner at third base. Dodgers 2-0. A run in the first, a run in the third. If Pagan can only stay healthy for a full season.
Very talented.
Came off the DL on the 1st of September. Veteran Frandsen scampering back to first.
Giants have hit the ball hard off Clayton a few times. Frandsen's the only one that could find a hole. The 2 liners to lead off the first and the second.
Off the glove, Ellis to the backstop.
Dodgers capitalized on an error by the Giants in the first inning, got an unearned run. This wild pitch from Clayton Kershaw now sets up a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. AJ also tell you that he should have had it, but the scorer calls it a wild pitch.
And the Giants with their first runner in scoring position. Pagan 36 runs batted in on the year. There's a strike. 2-1. Pagan had knee issues. He was on the DL. Missed 20 games. He's had back issues over the years. That's Kelby Tomlinson on deck. Dodgers with a 5-game lead on the Giants. Last year they finished 6 games in front of San Francisco. 2-2. They finished 6 in front of the Giants last year, 11 in front of them in 2013. The defending champions. Their season on the ropes. Bochy in his 9th year here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out.
Outstanding curveball and a fortunate take right there. A great take, really. Clayton's only thrown a couple curveballs, this being the second one. Boy, and it was sharp and looked like a strike for a long time. You see the flinch.
So on 3-2, Franson a lengthy lead at second. Tomlinson on deck, Matt Duffy to follow. This is Kershaw's 30th start in his career against the Giants, and he misses high and away. First walk given up by Kershaw tonight. Kelby Tomlinson stepping in. Strikeout victim in his first at-bat. Kershaw has fanned 2 to this point.
A lot of momentum in this game right now for the Dodgers, but this at bat could be an early turning point for the Giants.
Tomlinson, 1 home run, 17 runs batted in. Kershaw misses with a fastball.
Well, when Clayton misses up and away from a right-handed hitter, and he does it twice in a row, the walk and now that first pitch there, you see A.J. Ellis immediately jump out there. I think the thing that Clayton fights in these big moments, in these big games, is just the feeling of overthrowing. Instead of making a pitch, sometimes he tries to get a little extra and he loses command.
Two out. Tomlinson fouls it off his foot. It's 1-1. Joe Panik has missed 35 games with a bad back. Of course, the Giants have missed Pence, Panik. Matt Cain hasn't really been a factor. Aoki's been on the disabled list a couple of times. It's been a long year for San Francisco. They have hung tough. First and second with 2 out. Franson and Pagan the runners.
See the spray pattern, everything from balls in the dirt that are short of home plate to high above the hitter's shoulders. This tells me that there's a little bit of flinch right before his landing leg hits that is coming from a little bit too much I want it, too much effort. Stay in your rhythm.
2-1, 2 on, 2 out. Bottom of the third. Comebacker. And Kershaw will throw him out, and that'll end the inning. Giants threaten with a hit and a walk and leave 2. When we come back in the 4th, Corey Seager will lead it off. Dodgers 2-0.
Why or why not is Corey Seager in the lineup? And he continues to say that Corey Seager gives us the best chance to win the game today. It's an answer that you're probably going to hear from here on out. He also said that he keeps the bat flat through the zone and uses the entire field. And he also said had Jimmy Rollins not been hurt with that right index finger and Corey Seager not forced into the conversation more at short, we may not even be having this conversation right now, but he's certainly making the most of his opportunities.
Is he ever? Struck out in his first at-bat. 1 ball, no strikes to Seager. At .338, 3 home runs, 14 runs batted in, his 23rd game. Starting at short, and well, we'll find out who's going to start tomorrow. 1 ball, 1 strike. But the sounds of it and the looks of it is that we're going to see a lot of Seager between now and certainly the end of the weekend. And if all goes according to Hoyle, it'll be really interesting to see what happens in the playoffs. Into center field off the end of the bat, Pagan is coming in.
Well, he's not just a shortstop. He's proven he can play third base. He's not just a platoon player. He's proven he can hit left-handers. And so the young man has put up the numbers and put them up in a real quick way and gotten a lot of people's confidence, including his manager.
And solid defensively as well. Justin Ruggiano steps in, bounced to third in his first at-bat. Ruggiano's become something of a right-handed hitting specialist against lefties. Since coming to the Dodgers, .350 against southpaw pitching. .308 on the year. But Bumgarner's not just a garden variety left-hander.
Sure not. This is a guy who finished 4th in the Cy Young last year. He's working on a career high W's and could be a 20-game winner for the Giants if he wins this one in his next start. There haven't been many Giant 20-game winners lately.
And had just an unbelievable run in the postseason last year. Off to the right and out of play.
Last Giant 20-game winner was John Burkett at 22, and Bill Swift before that at 21. Madison has yet to win 19, stuck on 18 right now.
He has a chance to be among Giant left-handed pitchers. The all-time single-season strikeout leader. Ruggiano bounces out, 2 out. On Thursday, on an all-new backstage, Dodgers rookies Jock Peterson and Scott Schebler helped Tommy Lasorda celebrate his birthday. Plus, Vin Scully breaks a Guinness World Record. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers Thursday at 7 o'clock right here on Sportsnet LA. 2 out, nobody on. And here's A.J. Ellis. Took a called third strike in his first at-bat. Up and in, 1 ball, no strikes.
A little different position in the order right here for A.J. He led off that inning when he took the called third strike. Now with 2 out, nobody on, he might open up his swing. He's been showing some power of late.
1 ball, 1 strike. Ellis came into the game late last night and walked and flied out. Grandal setting it out tonight. Ellis catching for Kershaw yet again. AJ off to the slow start, but then in the middle of June things started to click in and he's put together a very solid season. Now it's 3-1. Ellis throughout his career has had a discerning eye. Thus the high on base percentage. 3-2.
That swing right there is one that you used to not see him take at all. He'd take that 3-1 pitch and get to the 3-2 count no matter what, looking for the walk. But now with the new hitting mechanics and a lot of confidence, cutting it loose, 3-1.
AJ's career on base percentage 343. But he bounces to third, and that completes the inning. 6 straight retired by Bumgarner. Nothing across for the Dodgers. In the bottom of the 4th, Duffy, Posey, and Bird to hit against Clayton Kershaw. ...2015 Jeep Cherokee with an EPA estimated 31 highway MPG. It's the perfect choice. Visit Jeep.com today. So Kike Hernandez, 2 runs and 2 hits. He has driven in 1. And Kershaw has given up but 1 base hit, a third of the way through the ball game. Matt Duffy leading it off. Give us your assessment of what you've seen from Clayton to this point.
I think he's thrown the ball very, very well. I think he overthrew the ball a little bit in his jam, but of course with his great ability he can lock back in and make some good pitches. I think the Dodgers are in a very good place right now with him on the mound.
Duffy takes a strike to begin the 4th. Struck out swinging. 2 strikeouts for Kershaw. He's walked 1. Missing inside.
Clayton with 283 strikeouts now. That's the most by any pitcher You have to go back to Randy Johnson in 2004, where he put up 290. So Clayton got a chance to even go by that number.
Into short right, an easy play for Van Slyke. Kershaw got out of a jam in the third with 2 on and 2 out. Tomlinson would bounce back to Clayton. Now Buster Posey stepping in. Posey lined to second base in his first at-bat. Posey hasn't done much over the course of his career against Kershaw. 1 ball and 1 strike. 233. 17 hits in 73 at-bats. A little better this year. Posey's the 3rd leading hitter in the National League at 323. Lines one into left field. Ruggiano is there to make the catch. Terrific play by Justin Ruggiano and a very good first step.
Psychological effect to that play, as well as an out being recorded. Angel Pagan has hit the ball hard off of Clayton, a line drive to third. We've seen a line out from Buster Posey to second, and now this line out to left. The Giants have to feel a little bit snake bit over there in their dugout.
So 2 out. Harlan Bird coming up. Ruggiano starting in left tonight with the lefty Bumgarner going. And on the first pitch, Bird sees into short right. Kendrick is out. Van Slyke is in. And an easy inning for Clayton Kershaw here in the 4th. 1, 2, 3. In the 5th, Van Slyke, Kershaw, and Kike Hernandez will be coming up. Kershaw and the Dodgers 2-0. Rivalry that dates back to 1890, back when the Dodgers were known as the Bridegrooms, and the Giants had recently changed their name from the Gothams to the Giants. Van Slyke leads off in the 5th and takes inside and low. 1 ball, no strikes. Of course, the Dodgers have gone through a myriad of names over the past 125 years. The Bridegrooms, the Superbas, the Trolley Dodgers, the Dodgers. For a time, the Robins, named after Wilbert Robinson, their manager, and back to the Dodgers. And of course, in 1958, they moved to Los Angeles when the Giants came out here to San Francisco. 2-1 to Van Slyke, who popped a short in his first at-bat. Two wonderful, historic franchises. Kershaw's on deck, and then the top of the order. Two balls and two strikes.
Scott Van Slyke's first at bat. Posey and Bumgarner were trying to jam him, and they did. He had to shorten his arms and ended up hitting a pop-up. Looked like right there. He was sitting on something inside, kind of bailing and wailing. The ball just too high.
Stays alive, does Van Slyke.
Still crowding him in there right there with that pitch.
Van Slyke started tonight with a .375 lifetime average against Madison Bumgarner. Now the 2-2. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 75 pitches in on the journey for Madison Bumgarner. Kershaw, on the other hand, has thrown just 45 through 4 innings. Through but 7 to retire the Giants in the 4th. 2 runs, 2 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 1 hit for the Giants. The 3-2 to Van Slyke. 5th strikeout for Bumgarner, and it's the first out of the 5th inning.
His pitch count has been built on his own balls and then deep counts and a few hits and rallies by the Dodgers. And that error at second base.
So the Dodgers got a run in the first. An unearned run at that on an error by Kelby Tomlinson. Allowed the inning to extend. Turner with a sac fly. And that gave the Dodgers the 1-0 lead, and the fella on deck, Kike Hernandez, hit a home run in the 3rd. Kershaw takes a strike, 1-1. Hernandez opened the game with a single to left, would come around to score on the Turner sac fly, and then in the 3rd, hit a home run deep into the bleachers in left center. Kershaw goes around, and it's 1-2.
Clayton did a little limbo on the breaking ball inside. It's a strike, and then that one starts out right down the middle, thinking it might be a breaking ball. He takes it again, kind of shaking his head at himself.
1-2 with 1 out in the 5th. Davey Lopes watches it go by. Should the Dodgers win tonight, it'll be their 14th Western Division title. And their 3rd in a row, and their 6th in the last 10 years. Line to left, and it's foul.
Emergency swing right there. The breaking ball, the pitch before, way out in front of that, a fastball high that he just chopped at and almost got himself a double.
Kershaw has 2 doubles this year. And now slowly but surely up to 82 pitches. 2-2.
Clayton doing a good job building Madison Bumgarner's pitch count. Now at 82.
26 of them came in the 1st inning. 2-2 to Kershaw. Back with you tomorrow night. First pitch, 7:15. Mike Bolsinger and Mike Leake.
Hopefully it's a hangover game for the Dodgers.
Well, they've got more than 200 bottles of champagne on ice. Well, it's been going for a while. The ice must be melted. After tonight, 5 games left in the regular season. The 2-2 Kershaw is making life miserable for Bumgarner.
It's the fun part about watching these two face each other because they're both good hitters and they're both such competitors. They're grinding it out. Look at that. And there have been some emotional outbursts from both of them, including a stare down from Madison Bumgarner to Joe West, and Clayton's thrown a few balls into the ground.
And into the dugout for that matter. 3-2. By the way, the Phillies beat the Mets tonight. 4-3. Just missing. For the Mets, their 68th loss. The Dodgers have 69. Kershaw fouls this one off. This will be the 12th pitch of this at-bat. Talk about being a fly at Bumgarner's picnic. Wow.
15% of the pitches that Bumgarner's thrown tonight have been to Clayton Kershaw in this at-bat.
The crowded dugout. 37 Dodgers in uniform. On 3-2. Kershaw finally rolls to second base. And look at him sprint all the way down.
He did his job. Madison Bumgarner is not going to complete this game because of that man going back into the Dodger dugout that has 40-some pitches himself.
And it was a routine ground ball to second base, and he sprinted every step of the way to the bag.
Backing up his words about playing with a sense of panic or urgency.
Now Kike Hernandez has singled and homered and scored both Dodger runs.
You don't think this is personal between these two guys? He wanted the out, but he wanted it a lot sooner.
Fierce competitors both. Hernandez back with a flourish. Missed 26 games with a hamstring. Singled and homered tonight. Has scored both Dodger runs. Off to the right. Slicing out of play. Have a look at the Arco top tier play of the game. It came in the third inning. Kike Hernandez, his 7th home run of the year. He has scored both Dodger runs tonight. One and two out. To shortstop. Easy hop for Crawford and a bad throw. So a throwing error. It's the second error of the night for the Giants. As Hernandez is aboard with 2 out.
Defensive strength is up the middle, but here the shortstop throws one away and the second baseman has already boot one. This mistake comes with 2 outs. The last one put the Dodgers in a 1st and 3rd situation. 2 out, man on first.
Howie Kendrick is the hitter. Hernandez all year only attempted to steal twice, and he was caught both times. Kendrick got aboard on the error by Tomlinson in the first and then bounced back to Bumgarner. Dodgers 2 runs, 2 hits. The Giants no runs, 1 hit, and 2 errors. Kendrick taking all the way, a strike, 0-1. So Kendrick starting at second base tonight. Chase Utley started there last night. closing in on 100 pitches with 2 out in the 5th inning.
This inning and the first inning, 26. And this inning's not over yet.
Nothing like throwing a 2-hitter. All right, it's still just the 5th inning and struggling. That's the night to this point for Bumgarner. 5 strikeouts and a walk. To the right side, that's going to be a base hit. Kike Hernandez will hold at second base.
Well, the 2 errors behind Bumgarner has probably added about 25 pitches to his pitch count. One put him into a bases loaded situation after the 1st and 3rd, and then he walked somebody, and now this inning getting extended and actually really not being able to put Clayton Kershaw away.
Corey Guerin is beginning to make his way to the bullpen. As the late Yogi Berra famously said, it's getting late early.
The combination of this ballpark and how it's a pitcher's park, Clayton Kershaw being on his game, Dodgers already having 2 runs, a hit here from Adrian Gonzalez to get that 3rd run would really make this a very comfortable lead for the middle of the game for the Dodgers.
And take the AT&T crowd out of it. But Gonzalez, who's been struggling, has walked and bounced to first. And Jeremy Affeldt is now trotting down to the bullpen as well. And the Giants can ill afford to lose again, especially with the Dodgers here in town. Adrian under 220 in the month of September. Hernandez at second, Kendrick at first. Both have had hamstring issues this year. It's a chilly night in San Francisco. The 0-2. Gonzalez pops it up. The second baseman Tomlinson taking charge. That'll do it. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error. And after 4.5, Kershaw has a 2-0 lead to work with.
Your Southern California Toyota dealers. The time is short, but the savings are big at Toyota's Clearance Countdown, going on now.
As we head to the home half of the 5th, Kershaw with a 2-0 lead to work with. Kershaw would eventually bounce to second after a 13-pitch at-bat in the top half of the 5th. That was the longest at-bat for any pitcher in the majors this year. Obviously, over in the American League, they don't get to hit much except in the interleague games. But the 13-pitch at-bat was the longest by any pitcher this year. Brandon Crawford leading it off and taking a strike, 0-1. And so Bumgarner, through 5 innings, has already thrown 100 pitches. Mac Williamson on deck, and then Kevin Frandsen to follow. And Kershaw quickly ahead, 0-2. Kershaw leads the league in strikeouts, including tonight with 283, has but 2 this evening. Bumgarner is due to hit 4th this inning. And even if they were inclined to take him out in 100 pitches through 5 in what could be the Giants' last stand, that's not likely to happen. He's got 5 home runs. Crawford bounced to short in his first at-bat. And that is strikeout number 3 for Clayton Kershaw as we begin the 5th.
High fastball just blows it right by him. His pitch count in a perfect place at 49. This being the first out of the 5th inning. Madison Bumgarner's pitch count, if you think about him coming up this inning, he's been over 100 pitches 20 times this year. And his last 2 outings are at the top of that list, 117 and 120.
Here's Mac Williamson. Takes a breaking ball up and in. Starting in left field tonight. With all the injuries, Bruce Bochy is beginning to run out of soldiers to trot out. Came up from AAA Sacramento 2 weeks ago. Takes a strike. Split the year between AA and AAA did Williamson. Richmond, Sacramento hit 275, 13 home runs, 73 runs batted in. And he missed most of last year, having undergone Tommy John surgery on his right elbow. Came out of Wake Forest. Kershaw's allowed 1 hit. He has struck out 3, walked 1. Just a bit of trouble in the 3rd inning outside of that smooth sailing. Williamson's a big boy, 6'4", 240. 3rd round pick in 2012. He pitched at Wake Forest. And down on strikes. 4th strikeout for Kershaw. Hard biting slider. On Saturday, it's La Grand Fiesta. Viva Los Dodgers. There will be food, music, autographs, onstage interviews, games, and fun for the entire family. All starting at 2 o'clock and brought to you by Coca-Cola, Time Warner Cable, and State Farm. For tickets, go to Dodgers.com/Viva. Dressed for the weather, 60 degrees. Wind blowing in as usual from right field toward left. Kevin Frandsen. And it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Clayton and AJ starting to throw a larger mix of curveballs. And he's got a nice release point on it right now.
And Kershaw strikes out the side in the 5th. He's got 6 on the night. And the Dodgers have a 2-0 lead as we head to the 6th inning. tape between these two heavyweights, and all the numbers seem to side on Kershaw's side of the ledger.
He has really been locked in tonight. The little bump in the road in the third, but the strikeouts, pitch count, and he is really overshadowing and outshining Madison Bumgarner.
5 strikeouts and 1 walk for Kershaw. And Justin Turner will lead it off. Then Corey Seager and Justin Ruggiano. Kershaw digging the dirt out of his spikes while talking to his pitching coach, Rick Honeycutt. Turner a sac fly and has been struck out. And takes under the knees, 1 ball and no strikes. Into right, routine for Bird. First out of the 6th. And Corey Seager coming up. He was 2 for 5 last night. Of course, he has been on base in each of his first 20 big league starts, but so far tonight, 0 for 2. Strike, and it's 0-1.
If the Dodgers can build Bumgarner's pitch count up around 110, 115, 117, you might see him hit for himself and not pitch the next inning.
Corey Gearin is beginning to warm up in the Giant bullpen as Seager swings and misses. And it's 0-2. Second time Gearin has been out there.
Bruce Bochy would love to give Madison through this inning for 2 reasons. Put a 0 on the board, but also to use his bat next inning.
Of course, Bumgarner's been used as a pinch hitter this year. That's how good a hitter he is. 5 home runs. Bruce Bochy, his 9th year as the manager of the Giants. It's already generally regarded, almost expected, that 5 years after his retirement, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. Seager slices it, foul and out of play. So Corey has struck out and flied to center. From AA to AAA. And now to the big leagues. He went around. He's been struck out for the 2nd time tonight. And that's a 6th strikeout for Madison Bumgarner. 2 out and nobody on.
We talk about Madison Bumgarner's hitting. You project his stats over a full year in the 9-hole, 75 at bats and those 5 home runs. That'd be 35 home runs and 63 RBIs. That's pretty strong from the 9-hole.
That ain't bad anywhere. 35 home runs.
Well, that kind of production from 75 at bats, if you moved him up in the order, the RBIs would go way up.
No balls and 2 strikes. Ruggiano's bounced to third and bounced to short. He's hit so well against left-handers throughout his career, but especially in his time with the Dodgers, that over the last 3 weeks or so, whenever there's been a lefty starter, Ruggiano's been in there. Has led off quite a bit too. Here's the 0-2. High and inside, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Everyone remembers Rick Ankiel, where he ended up with the thing and ended up playing center field. Madison Bumgarner's bat, if anything ever happened to his arm, I think you could see him as a big league first baseman.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Well hit to left field. Justin Ruggiano has hit a home run. His 4th with the Dodgers. He feasts on left-handed pitching up to and including Madison Bumgarner, and the Dodgers take a 3-0 lead.
Goes a long way as an insurance run for the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight, and it goes a long way for Justin Ruggiano to make the playoff roster if the Dodgers can put this one in the books and put the Giants away. A hanging breaking ball that he supplies all the power. The velocity wasn't in the pitch, but there was an awful lot of velocity in the bat speed.
67-mile-an-hour curveball. Hammered. Ellis with a fly ball to left center field, and that one's gone! Back-to-back home runs for Justin Ruggiano and A.J. Ellis. And the Dodgers take a 4-0 lead. So the Dodgers on the year now with 183 home runs, and the 3 tonight come from Kike Hernandez, Justin Ruggiano, and A.J. Ellis. Who knew? That will be the end of the line for Madison Bumgarner. Bruce Bochy going to home plate umpire Dana DeMuth to explain the double switch. And high fives aplenty in the Dodger dugout. Corey Gearin is coming in. Ruggiano and Ellis go back to back in the 6th. Madison Bumgarner is heading out. He's been knocked out in the 6th inning, and the Dodgers with a 4-0 lead. Be the last 2 pitches thrown by Madison Bumgarner this year. Justin Ruggiano's 4th home run of the season with the Dodgers. The very next pitch, A.J. Ellis with his 7th home run of the year. Dodgers with a 4-0 lead, and one would expect that if the Dodgers eliminate the Giants tonight, Bumgarner will not make his final start because it simply will not be needed. Corey Gearin is the new pitcher. He will be tossing to Trevor Brown behind the plate. So the end of the line for Bumgarner tonight. And Gearin with his 6th appearance. 112 pitches, 75 for strikes. The pitch count and 3 home runs hammered by the Dodgers tonight would be the undoing of Madison Bumgarner. A.J. Ellis with his 7th of the year. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-2 to Van Slyke.
It's a comfortable lead for the Dodgers, 4-0 here in the 6th. Clayton Kershaw hasn't given up 4 runs or more only 5 times this year.
So you like his chances, do you?
I like the Dodgers' chances.
And Slight down on strikes. That will end the inning. With 2 out and nobody on, Justin Ruggiano hit a home run deep into the bleachers in left center. A.J. Ellis would follow with a home run on the very next pitch. And after 5 1/2, the Dodgers getting closer, shutting out the Giants 4-0. The Dodger calendar brought to you by 76. Back with you tomorrow night. First pitch at 7:15. Mike Bolsinger and Mike Lee. On Thursday, a matinee. First pitch at 1:45. Brett Anderson and Tim Hudson. Then the Dodgers will head home for the final 3 games of the regular season with the Padres. Clayton Kershaw, if he's got 4 runs to work with, he is money in the bank. In fact, he has never lost when given 4 runs to work with. And he's got a 4-0 lead on a big night tonight. Trevor Brown fouls it off, and it's 0-1. Newhall and UCLA, he had quite a night last night. Doubled in 2 and singled in 3 at-bats, also walked. Foul. Came in half inning, part of a double switch, when Bumgarner was knocked out. So to this point, Kershaw has knocked down and perhaps knocked out his fellow heavyweight champ, Madison Bumgarner. And with that, 6 strikeouts on the night for Kershaw. Brown caught looking. 4 strikeouts in a row for Clayton Kershaw.
And the Giants are not catching Clayton Kershaw just on any given night. He is on a roll. He's been on a roll for his last 22 starts. 13-4 with a 1.50.
Pagan takes a strike. Had a patch of rough road in the 3rd inning, when the Giants had 1st and 3rd and 2 out. They've had 2 base runners all night. That was in the 3rd inning. Mentioned at the top of the broadcast, tonight marks the 27th time that Greinke and Kershaw have started consecutive games. The Dodgers have lost back-to-back games when they've gone back-to-back only twice. So even with the loss last night, foul ball called by home plate umpire Dana Demuth. So that even when the Dodgers lost with Greinke going last night,
The odds were heavily in the Dodgers' favor with that guy on the hill tonight.
And that is the benefit of having two aces. They can stop losing streaks and they can create long winning streaks. And the Dodgers were on a tough streak coming in here into San Francisco after what happened in Colorado. Looking like right now one of the two stoppers is going to end it.
The longest losing streak that the Dodgers have had all year was 5. Again, when you can trot out Kershaw and Greinke every 5th day, it's going to minimize the damage. And down goes Pagan. That is the 7th strikeout for Kershaw. Music sounds good. The pitching's been better.
The slider. Well, it's the curveball. It was a good one. Spun his hat around.
Pagan could do nothing but tip his cap. Tomlinson swings and foul tips it. It's 0-1. So 5 strikeouts in a row for Kershaw. 7 on the night. Tomlinson has struck out and bounced out. Did he go around? No, it was his first base umpire, Mike Estabrook.
4-run lead for Kershaw. Speeds anywhere from 74 miles an hour all the way up to 96. That's a huge mountain for these Giants to climb.
But his 69th pitch of the game. Bumgarner was knocked out in 5 2/3, having thrown 112. Greinke last night, 2 runs and 4 hits in 7 innings. And it wasn't quite enough. Striking out the side for the 2nd consecutive inning. That's 8 strikeouts on the evening for Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw working on a 1-hitter through 6. Get your tickets for baseball and some fantastic prizes, like a 1-year lease on a Mercedes-Benz C-Class, an LG 49-inch smart LED TV, a personal lawn care visit by the Dodgers ground crew, and season tickets for 2016 and so much more. For all the details on what's being given away, visit Dodgers.com/fan appreciation. Kershaw leading it off in the 7th. Another magnificent performance when the Dodgers have needed him most. He has struck out 8, walked 1, and given up 1 base hit. He's 0 for 2. And if the Dodgers hang on and win, of course, much acclaim to the pitching performance of Kershaw. But that 13 pitch at bat in the 5th inning was basically the beginning of the end for Madison Bumgarner. And by the end of the night, 112 pitches, and 13 of them came in that 1 at bat. And now Kershaw bounces to third. And as happens all the time when Kershaw bounces out as routinely as he did there, he is busted all out every step of the way. Jeremy Affeldt is warming up again for the Giants. And Kike Hernandez has been on base all 3 times tonight. Missing the slider, 0-1. Began the game with a single to left. He would come around to score in the first inning on a sac fly. In the 3rd inning, he cracked his 7th home run of the year, got aboard on an error in the 5th. On 0-1, grounded slowly to second base, and Tomlinson will throw him out. 2 out and nobody on, and Howie Kendrick coming up.
The offensive side of the equation for the Dodgers right now seems kind of pedestrian, where it's just kind of, let's get Clayton Kershaw back out there and start recording the outs. If they build some rallies, fine. If not, keep him warm and keep him comfortable as far as in his rhythm.
Get him a fan, some grapes, relax.
When you're 76-0, when the team gets you 4 runs, you want to get your pitcher back on the mound.
In a leisurely fashion. And so far tonight, Kershaw's been on top of his game. Howie Kendrick, 1 for 3. Dodgers 9 outs away from their 3rd straight Western Division title. To first base, that's Posey. 2 out, that'll do it. In fact, no runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. 7th inning stretch. And the Dodgers and Kershaw with a 4-0 lead. Is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop at choosenissan.com. Clayton Kershaw, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. He has struck out the last 6 Giants in a row. In pretty good company. Duffy 0 for 2. First pitch, fly ball, center field, right at Kike Hernandez.
At this point in the game, Clayton went toe-to-toe with Madison Bumgarner. Check. Got a shutout going. Check. Pitch counts in hand. Check. There's a new box now. He wants to be on the mound for the very last pitch of this game when the Dodgers win. He wants that, and I know he's smelling it.
And he's given up one hit. A clean single to right by Kevin Franson back in the third inning.
There's no better guy to be on the mound in the ninth than him for the Dodgers to do something they've never done before, which is to win this title 3 years in a row.
1 ball, 1 strike to Buster Posey. He's had good rips against Kershaw tonight. Line to second in the second. Line to left in the fourth. Ruggiano made a very nice catch near the line. 4 runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers. No runs and a hit for the Giants. Posey pops it up. Right field. Routine for Van Slyke. Dodgers now 7 outs away.
Over 2-1, strikes to balls. 74 pitches, and he's coming off a short outing where they pulled him early in Arizona. Only 5 innings, so he's well rested.
Marlon Byrd. 0-1. Byrd has bounced to third and flied to right. Started the year in Cincinnati. And the Giants are thinking about bringing him back, envisioning a platoon system with he and Nori Aoki next year. One ball and 2 strikes.
So you're saying he has it to look forward to of facing Clayton Kershaw a lot next year.
Mm-hmm.
What a prize that would be to sign back with the Giants.
From what they say, there's a lot of mutual interest. He's been a nice fit since coming to San Francisco. Byrd came up with the Phillies in 2002, then to the Nationals, Texas, the Cubs, Red Sox, Mets, Pirates, Phillies, and the Reds and Giants. And Kershaw has struck out 9 on the night. Nothing across for the Giants, and the Dodgers are 6 outs away from their 3rd consecutive Western Division title. TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Visit MLB.tv today. As we head to the 8th, Jeremy Affeldt on in relief. A one-hitter for Clayton Kershaw. He has struck out 9, walked 1. Has not been seriously tested by the Giants tonight. Adrian Gonzalez leading off the 8th. 0 for 2 and a walk. First pitch, fly ball, short left. It's going to drop in for a base hit in front of Mac Williamson. So Gonzalez with a leadoff single to left. Justin Turner coming up. And now the Giant bullpen going to work again. Right down Broadway. Right-hander Mike Broadway is tossing to the bullpen. Turner, a sac fly, is struck out and fly to right. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. Corey Seager on deck. Nothing in 2.
When the magic number gets down to 2 and it's really close, but it's before the game or it's after the game and tomorrow's the game, it can be a distraction. When the magic number's 2 and you're looking across at the Giants right now and you're up 4-0 and Clayton Kershaw's on the mound, it's an energy source. The anticipation in the dugout right now, you just don't even know what to do with yourself. You're getting so close to something that you've been working towards all year long. You got your ace on the mound. You've got a huge lead, and you're on offense, and nothing bad can happen right now.
Just 79 pitches through 7 innings for Kershaw. No balls and 2 strikes. Way outside. Gonzalez is not going anywhere, not with a 4-run lead and a cranky back and 157 games in. One and 2 to Turner. That one gets past, and this time Gonzalez will go to second base.
Adrian probably waited for some time because this lead and the run is not that important for a time he could get to second without having to slide. That one got far enough away.
Wild pitch. Corey Seager is on deck. Dodgers wouldn't mind another insurance run here. 3 more home runs for the Dodgers tonight, 183 on the year. Almost half their runs this year have come in by way of home run.
They played a very clean game last night. Even though there was a loss, there was a lot of good things that happened. Justin Turner, who's at the plate now, laid down a really nice sacrifice. Corey Seager drove in a run, got a run. Carl Crawford stole a base. The Dodgers played flawless defense. The bullpen shined.
Turner foul tipped it. It was the first really clean game the Dodgers had played in more than a week.
It was very crisp. Even though it turned out to be a loss in extra innings, Don Mattingly commented on there was a lot of faith in the players that they could turn it on, and there was a better energy level and focus.
Which was clearly lacking in Colorado and wasn't so hot at home against the Diamondbacks prior to that. The Dodgers coming into the game tonight had lost 4 straight and 8 of 10. And after tonight, 5 games to go. Turner to the right side, and that finds a hole. They'll hold Gonzalez at third. Dodgers with runners at the corners and nobody out, and Corey Seager coming up. So here comes Corey Seager. And his little streak is in jeopardy. In his first 20 starts, he has been on base by hit or by walk at least once. But tonight he has struck out twice and flied to center. Back in 1953, Jim Gilliam, Junior Gilliam, his first 24 starts, he got on base with a hit or a walk. And Seager, this is his 21st start, but 0 for 3 tonight, in all likelihood his last at bat. Giants bring the infield in, not all the way in, about halfway.
With Adrian Gonzalez at third and the cranky back, I don't think the Dodgers will risk anything where he would be in a collision or would have to slide.
Base hit. Corey Seager now 21 straight starts with a hit. He's 2 away from Junior Gilliam's Dodger record. Knocks in his 15th run, and the Dodgers take a 5-0 lead. Boy, isn't he something?
Carl's Clam replay right here for this 21st time he reaches base. First pitch of the at bat, a fastball down and in that he just missed. He was shaking his head at himself and then caught that one and hit it solid.
The end of the line for Jeremy Affeldt. Mike Broadway is on his way in, and the Dodgers now with a comfortable 5-0 lead in the top half of the 8th. AAA Sacramento with an ERA of under 1 is taking over for Jeremy Affeldt. Andre Ethier with the righty on is being called upon to pinch hit for Justin Ruggiano. Ruggiano who has flourished since coming to the Dodgers, hitting against lefties, hit a home run off Madison Bumgarner tonight. He went 1 for 3. So the Dodgers with a run in here in the 8th. Solid night last night for Ethier. Who drove in the tying run in the 9th with a fielder's choice. The Dodgers would fall in 12. 5-0 here in the 8th. Ethier takes high and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Jeremy Affeldt faces 3 batters, a run and 3 hits, and both runners on base, Turner at second, Seager at first, are the statistical responsibility of Jeremy Affeldt. Inside. 2 balls, no strikes to Ethier. So Seager now, hitter a walk 21 games in a row. Not a bad way to start a career. Ethier in the right center field. That's a base hit. That's going to roll to the wall. Here comes Turner. Here comes Seager. Ethier's on his way to third. He's got himself a triple. And the Dodgers with 3 here in the 8th have a 7-0 lead.
A beautiful piece of hitting by Andre Ethier, and this hit right here is going to start the celebration in the Dodger dugout as they can start to begin to relax. The slow-mo cam by Morongo as that ball goes up the gap in right center and ends up being a 3-bagger.
And now A.J. Ellis, who homered in his last at-bat. The Dodgers 0-7 here at AT&T Park this year until tonight. And until tonight had scored a total of 8 runs. Tonight they have scored 7. Closing in on their 3rd straight Western Division title. Kershaw with a 1-hitter. He struck out 9. Ellis takes a strike. It's crowded down there. 37 Dodgers are in uniform. And the Dodgers are 6 outs away with a 7-0 lead. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Clayton wrapping that arm, and that's the sign that he is still in.
If he was upset being taken out in Arizona.
1-out shutout, or 1-hit shutout so far to clinch the West. He wants to finish it.
Ellis with a base hit to right. And in comes Ethier with the 8th run of the game. Ellis, 2 hits, a home run, and 2 RBIs.
High fives in the dugout. Andre Ethier coming off the bench, getting his legs loose with a gapper, and now just getting to jog in on that base hit.
The home fans are beginning to head out. Dave Righetti goes out to chat with Mike Broadway. There's nobody warming in the bullpen. It's as if the white flag is being waved. It's a good thing it's a big dugout. Of course, there's no bullpen here. No bullpen benches. So everybody gets real friendly. They better be. And certainly tonight they will be. Van Slyke takes a strike, 0-1. 8 runs and 10 hits for the Dodgers. The Giants, no runs and 1 hit. Dodgers a 7-game losing streak at AT&T Park until tonight. 0-2 to Van Slyke, who's 0 for 3.
Talk about the crowded dugout, no bullpen. You got 13 relievers there, 2 bullpen catchers, and Coach Chuck Krim had 16 to the bench.
Standing room only. It won't be that crowded in the first round of the postseason, the division series against the Mets. Now the question is, will it be opening in New York or Los Angeles?
The Mets lost today, so that helps out a little bit.
So the Dodgers will creep back to within 1, but it's really 2 because if they end with the same record, because the Mets took 4 out of the 7 regular season games, the Mets would get the home field advantage in the first round. Dodgers have 2 more games with the Giants and 3 with the Padres. And then the Mets finish up with the Phillies and the Reds. Into left. Finally, the first out of the 8th.
Now Clayton Kershaw gets to stay loose by hitting right here. I'm not sure the Dodgers would enjoy the fact that if he would reach base.
Coming into the game tonight, the Dodgers had scored 8 runs all year in San Francisco. Well, they have scored 8 runs in 7 1/3 tonight, including 4 here in the 8th inning. A turning point, not the turning point, but a turning point in the game tonight came back in the 5th inning with 1 out, nobody on. Kershaw facing Madison Bumgarner. A 13-pitch at-bat. Would eventually ground to second base. Bumgarner tonight in 5 2/3 through 112 pitches and 13 of them to Kershaw in the 5th inning. And when Kershaw eventually bounced to second base routinely, he was out by maybe a step and a half, running all out all the time. Into left field, and a diving catch nicely made by Matt Williams. Kershaw would be out at first. Kershaw, that one stung.
Well, this is a catch that Don Mattingly and Rick Honeycutt are actually probably rooting to be made. Get Clayton back on the bench and ready to go pitch, feeling that the run support is enough.
Kershaw was shaking his hand after that at bat. Off the end of the bat, his fingers feel like a tuning fork.
It can feel a lot worse in this chilly weather here in San Francisco. The moisture in the air too.
Kike Hernandez, what a night he has had. Began the game with a single to left. He'd eventually come around to score on Turner's sac fly. In his second at bat in the 3rd inning, hit one of those no doubt about it jobs into the stands in left center. His 7th home run of the year. Got aboard on an error and has bounced out. Leading off and playing in center field. And he takes a strike, and that'll end the inning. We'll go to the bottom half of the 8th. The Dodgers are 6 outs away from their 3rd straight National League Western Division title. They give the ball back to their ace. are looking at the Dodger clubhouse. They're getting ready for a late night. They're getting ready. They've got about 200, 220 bottles of champagne. I'm guessing it is not Dom Perignon, but it may be. But whatever it is, it will be used more to douse one another than to drink. But here's the guy, Kershaw. 9 strikeouts, 1 walk, a 1-hitter. And Brandon Crawford leading it off. Kershaw has 11 career shutouts, 20 career complete games. He leads the league in strikeouts. Yet another masterful performance. Crawford on 0-2, low and outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
It's a great primer for Clayton going into the playoffs. The atmosphere here, the opponent, what's on the line. Really performed to one of his highest levels. Really fun circumstances. Really never got out of his rhythm other than a little bit in the 3rd.
Kershaw has retired the last 13 batters in succession. Last base runner, Pagan, a walk in the 3rd inning. Crawford tonight has bounced out and has been struck out. If he can close the door without surrendering a run, the Dodgers will have their 21st shutout of the year. And Kershaw would have 3 of them. And that is strikeout number 10 for Clayton Kershaw. The Dodgers now are 5 outs away.
10th strikeout tonight, the 13th time this year that he has struck out double figures.
Now Mac Williamson takes high, 1 ball, no strikes. Among the other unbelievable notes about Clayton Kershaw, since 1920, that's 95 years, he has the lowest earned run average of anybody, any starter. 245. Hoyt Wilhelm second, Whitey Ford, Sandy Koufax, Jim Palmer. Kershaw's on top of that mountain. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. Watch out. Jarrett Parker in the on-deck circle nearly got conked. Williamson tonight has flied out and has been struck out. Buster Posey is the only Giant hitter who has not been struck out tonight. 10 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 hit. The Kershaw line. And he's lowered his earned run average to 218. Two balls, 2 strikes, and 1 out. Strikeout. Number 11. Ellis completes it. 3 in a row for Kershaw. 2 out in the 8th.
First strikeout of this inning was on a slider. The second one, this one on a curveball. Clayton's out there with an awful lot of energy, hopping around.
They're getting closer.
Every pitch he throws, he knows he comes closer to a decision from Don Mattingly or Rick Honeycutt on whether he can finish this game. So he wants to try and be as efficient as possible with this last hitter.
At 91 pitches, it'd be a suicide mission for Mattingly to go over to Kershaw. Hey, I got this idea. No, you don't. Jarrett Parker. 2 balls and no strikes.
When I got to a pitch count close to where I thought Tommy or Ron Peranowski was going to want to take me out, if there were multiple doors into the dugout, I would take the far one away from them and then just go right up the runway away from them.
I was going to say, disappear into the men's room.
Yep.
Paging Mr. Hershiser.
Would not let him find me.
2 balls and a strike to Jarrett Parker.
The other good thing about that is if there is kind of an argument, you're already in a hidden place.
Will you unlock the door? No, I won't. Not until the next inning. Well, Kershaw's not going anywhere.
Clayton doesn't wear sleeves, at least tonight. And my excuse was always, I'm just going in to change my sleeves.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Jarrett Parker. Kershaw's retired the last 15 batters. The Giants had a bit of life in the 3rd inning. A 1-out single, a 2-out walk. Tomlinson would bounce out, and that'd be it. A walk to Bumgarner in the 3rd inning, the last Giant base runner of the night. Breaking ball, strike 3. 12 strikeouts, 16 in a row retired by Clayton Kershaw. And now the Dodgers 1 out away, 1 inning away from their 3rd consecutive National League Western Division championship. Jury to come to this conclusion, the Lexus player of the game, 28-year-old Clayton Kershaw, a 1-hitter through 8. He has struck out 12, walked only 1, and has given up just 1 base hit. He's retired the last 16 batters in a row. The Dodgers needed him most. Kershaw came up the biggest. Jarrett Parker, I don't think I ever saw a curveball quite like that one before.
A lot of these young Giant hitters have not seen a pitcher like Clayton Kershaw ever before.
And so here in the 9th, Howie Kendrick leading it off. New pitcher for the Giants is Cody Hall. This is his 5th appearance. Mets lost tonight, and the Dodgers are now 3 outs away. Oh, 2 to Kendrick, who's 1 for 4. They're getting ready. Injun Ryu wouldn't miss the party. Jerry Hairston and Alana going to be down there. Hope they brought a change of clothes. Kendrick bounces to third, first out of the ninth. Don't forget the goggles. Because as you know, it burns.
It does burn, but it's an awful lot of fun. They've worked really, really hard all year, and they've been through a lot of hurdles and over a lot of mountains.
1 out, top of the ninth, and Adrian Gonzalez. 1 for 3 and a walk. 2 for 4 and a walk. And Justin Turner is coming up.
Clayton Kershaw and Don Mattingly had a small discussion right after the last inning, and it didn't last long. It looked like Don just checked to see how he felt, and Clayton kind of waved it off like, I'm fine.
Are you okay, Mr. Kershaw? Yes. Justin Turner swings and misses. Of course, everybody noticed that little set-to in the dugout in Kershaw's last start. And they hammered it out the next day, and it's paid off handsomely for both. Turner 1 for 3, a sac fly, fouls it off to the right. 0-2. The manager's son, Brett Bochy, is warming up in the Giant bullpen. He made his major league debut here against the Dodgers last year. It's cool to bring your son in, not so cool to yank him.
Yes.
1 ball, 2 strikes. In the first 7 games this year, the Dodgers 0-7 at AT&T and scored a total of 8 runs. Tonight, 8 runs and 11 hits. 1 out in the ninth. And Turner gets hit. That's the last thing in the world he wants or needs.
Just trying to get to the end of the game so you can get to the celebration, and that one misses the arm guard that he wears there under his jersey.
Down in the forearm.
Yeah, down a little lower than he has covered.
So 2 on and 1 out, and Corey Seager stepping in. Seager's got a hit, a run, and an RBI tonight. And so Corey, every one of his starts has reached base with a hit or a walk. At 21 now, the Dodger record starting out a career, Junior Gilliam in 1953 in his first 24 starts. First and second, 1 out. Seager at 337. One ball, 1 strike. 3 home runs and 15 runs batted in. Andre Ethier is on deck. Little nubber. Brown throws out Seager. The runners advance. There's 2 out. Andre Ethier's coming up. In the bottom of the ninth, it'll be Brown, Pagan, and Tomlinson. And Kershaw, through 8 innings, 96 pitches, 67 for strikes.
Andre Ethier didn't start this game, but he came in the middle for Justin Ruggiano, and I think it's very fitting for the year that he has had to be on the field when the Dodgers clinch this. He's been such an integral part of this team.
Ethier with second and third takes high and away, 1 ball, no strikes. Cody Hall, the 5th Giant pitcher of the night. Bumgarner chased after 5 2/3. Through 112 pitches. Gave up 4 runs, 3 earned, and 3 home runs. Kike Hernandez, and Ruggiano and Ellis went back to back. Gonzalez at third and Turner is at second. Sliced foul. A.J. Ellis, who had a home run tonight, is on deck. After a week of relatively lackadaisical play by the Dodgers last night, a 4-hour, 3-hour and 59-minute, 12-inning affair, feisty affair at that. And tonight they came out with both barrels blazing, with a run in the first, 1 in the third, 2 in the 6th, 4 in the 8th. It's been a while since we've seen this Dodger team. 2 balls and a strike to Ethier. Fair ball. Posey's got it, and that's going to do it. So now the Dodgers are 3 outs away from their 3rd consecutive Western Division title, and Kershaw is looking for the shutout and the complete game. Dodgers with an 8-0 lead. And their ace has been ace-like tonight. He has retired the last 16 batters. He has struck out 12. He has walked 1. In search of his 3rd shutout of the year and his 4th complete game. And Trevor Brown out of Newhall takes a strike, gets 0-1. Now it's 0-2.
Clayton Kershaw grinding away, 3 outs to go. He's about the only guy on the field that this doesn't feel like a victory lap.
Strike 3. Strikeout number 13 for Kershaw. He has retired 17 batters in a row, and the Dodgers are 2 outs away. One can only imagine the adrenaline rush inside Clayton Kershaw now. He has struck out 5 in a row. Earlier in the game, he struck out 6 in a row. And now, 13 on the night. He struck out the side in the 5th, struck out the side in the 6th, struck out Bird to end the 7th, 4 strikeouts in a row since then. Into left field. And right there is Van Slyke. 1 out away. Kelby Tomlinson. He's been struck out twice tonight. 0 for 3. $18 straight retired by Kershaw. 1 ball, no strikes to Tomlinson. The only walk of the game to Angel Pagan with 2 out in the 3rd, and that would be the last Giant base runner of the night. Two 2-0. Chopper to short. Seager. And that is how the West was won. The Dodgers, for the 3rd consecutive year, win the National League Western Division title. That is something this franchise has never done before. Go to the postseason 3 years in a row. A rivalry that goes back 125 years. And Clayton Kershaw saves his best for last. Strikes out 13, walks 1, gives up 1 hit, and retires the final 19 batters as the Dodgers shut out the San Francisco Giants 8-0. Kershaw and Ellis. What a battery. What a night for Kershaw. And isn't it appropriate that Corey Seager would record the final out, throw on to Gonzalez, and let the games begin. It is party time in San Francisco. Well, stay tuned for the post-game celebration. We've got you covered. For Oral Hershiser, Donna Rizzo, Charlie Steiner saying good night and goodbye. And for the moment, we will send it back to Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by Nissan. The Dodgers are the Western Division champions. Shaking it up.